Hey, gun people. Hi, Moki. Dad still hasn't caught that damn cat. I'm working on it. The boys are out there eating their hay. So I wanted to do a little video on the Dallas cop. Hi, buddy. Still a little muddy out here. Too far? I guess I'm kind of in here. So they fired the Dallas cop. Is that a good or bad thing? Why did they wait so long? Is it a cover-up? What do we know? Look, I can only go by the search warrant that I kind of read to when they wrote it up and they signed under penalty of perjury. All this other crap about media, secret witnesses, anonymous sources, things like that. If that's all I had, then that's what I have to go on. But when I have a search warrant that's been provided by the court and signed under penalty of perjury, I got to give that a little more weight. So why did they fire her? Because she was wrong? If you get in a car accident at your job and you're found at fault, can you be fired? If somebody dies because you got in a car accident, can you be at fault? If you drive your company's car when you're supposed to, you're allowed to drive it, and you get in an accident and kill somebody, can they fire you? I mean, they can fire you for different things. Cops have certain... We get caught up in this legality to where we lose our rights. As a cop, we have to cooperate with an investigation. If we don't, we can be fired. So if here's what happened when she shot this person. She went there, she's probably getting legal advice, don't give a statement. Keep your mouth shut. Say as little as possible. I went to the wrong house. I was scared. I challenged him. I shot him. Didn't say anything else. Probably a good move. Then she got an attorney when this hit the news and everything, and they tried to make it a racist issue. It was dark. She couldn't see the guy. No, I'm not racist, saying because the guy's black she couldn't see him, and somehow that's inferring that I'm racist. It's the facts. So when all this blew up, her attorney probably said, look, you don't want to talk about this, you don't want to say anything. Well, there's a difference between an investigation for a criminal offense and an internal investigation to see if you violated policy or you should be fired. So the first thing they did on scene was what's called the criminal investigation. Is there outstanding suspects? Was there multiple guns? Was there multiple adversaries? What other factors caused you to shoot? Why were you so afraid in your own apartment? Whatever. So that was kind of her actions. After that, they probably relieved her of duty. Probably most cops involved in shootings get kind of relieved of duty. You get leave with pay. They tell you, we're going to send you to shrink, make sure you're okay. We're going to give you counseling because we care about you, which is all BS. We want to help you. We want to get you back to work. Man, they want you to go back to work the next day and move on. They don't want to spend money in medical and all. They'll tell you that they care about you and all that shit, but they don't care. They have freaking government. They're pencil pushers. They're checking boxes. They're covering their butts. They're checking with HR, and they're checking with county council, and they're checking with the board of supervisors, and everybody's trying to play PC and act like we care. In the meantime, they don't give a crap. So, her days were numbered as soon as she shot this guy. She was... Look, I don't think anybody's saying that she was right and they're picking on her. She made a really bad mistake and somebody died. Was it reckless? Was it intentional? Was it justified? Was it extenuating circumstances or mitigating circumstances? If and buts, coconuts, all that I'll figure out in a wash. The agency, when they started their internal investigation, they called her in and said, hey, we want to know you were off duty, you had a gun, you worked this shift, you shot a guy, you shot him with a departmental gun, you were in full uniform, did you identify yourself as a police officer, are you aware of this policy and that policy, and did you violate this policy and that policy? There's probably some policy that if you get charged with a felony, you're going to be terminated. So, because she was charged with manslaughter felony, as far as I know. I know a lot of people want to get into it's a misdemeanor, it's a fourth degree misdemeanor, third degree felony. It's not really a felony. It's not a felony if she gets to go to jail instead of prison. It's only a felony if she goes to prison. There's all kind of things that can manipulate. But for the sake of this, it was charged as a felony. She posted bond, and she's basically being charged with a felony. So, can a department put somebody back to work when they're facing criminal charges for felony? I mean, they could. They can do what they want. Government can always do what they want. Don't ever mistake that. You know, when we were fighting that dirty DA, me and my lieutenant, we were just, you know, had great careers. We were been cops. We were senior guys. We thought, you know what? We're covered by the law. They can't do anything to us. Man, the government can always do what they want. They have no rules. The rules don't apply. They can violate the law. They can violate policy. They can violate HR. They can violate anything they want. They'll deal with it later. It's not their money. They have county council. They have government lawyers protecting them. They're going to group together and take care of government. So, don't get me wrong. They could have put her back to work and said, I don't care. We're putting her back to work. She's facing manslaughter charges. She's going back to work. We don't care. Would that be reasonable? If she went out there and made another mistake on duty, would they say the department was unreasonable when they put her back to work? Probably so. So the department is sitting here like, all right, we can't keep paying her if we can't put her back to work. And when we put her back to work, we're going to be seen as dummies because she's under stress and she's facing prison term and she's being charged with a felony. So what do? Shit, let's fire her. Okay, if we fire her, we can say that she violated some policy, and then we can distance ourselves from any liability, so when they sue, because we know they're going to sue, we can say, hey, we weren't aware of the problem until this incident. When we found out about the problem, we took reasonable and appropriate action, and we terminated her. So now they have cover. They're like putting on their bulletproof vests, so when they get shot at by the lawyer, it's not going to hurt them. Or it's going to help their case, so they're going to be able to stand a fight longer and not get slaughtered. So, did they fire her for the right reason? I don't know. My guess is, and again, it's only a guess, my guess is, from my experience and everything, she was advised, don't cooperate with an internal investigation, because in an internal investigation, it's a compelled statement, and you have to talk to them. And anything you say, they're going to say can't be used against you. But that's BS. Because you can't unring that bell, and it can be used to impeach you. And that's a problem when you don't know all the ins and outs laws, and you give advice about run around and pepper spray everybody in the eyes and you'll be okay because it's better than a gun, and you don't understand all the tentacles of the octopus of the law that comes out to grab you and mess you up. So, if the cop comes up to me and says, you better give me a statement or I'm going to beat your ass. And I go, dude, man, I'm sorry, I did it. That statement will be thrown out as coercive. It was not given freely and voluntarily, and therefore it cannot be used against me. And they will throw that statement out. No ifs, ands, buts, coconuts, it's out. Because a cop in uniform came up to me and made me give that statement in fear and made me scared that if I didn't give it, I'd get beat up, hurt, or locked up or something. So I gave that statement under duress. If I go to an internal investigation and they go, officer, if you don't cooperate, you know you can be terminated. Yes. Okay, we're going to ask you some questions. When you shot that person, were you really scared? Why were you scared? Didn't you recognize? And they get all these great questions about the criminal investigation. Remember, they're not doing a criminal. They're doing an internal. So they get all this information. Their lawyer's going to say, Your Honor, she gave that statement under duress of being fired, so her statement shouldn't be used. Judge will go, you're right, can't use that statement. They can share it with the prosecution. The prosecution can read it, and there is some case law in some states that forbids a police department to share an officer's internal statement with a criminal investigation. Can't do it. And then there's other states that you can't do it unless you get a judge to order it, and you get a court order, and then you can get it. And then if the judge says no on that, the federal courts don't abide by that law. They don't care if you gave a statement under duress. They get to use it. So if they really want you and it's a big enough case and they have a great statement and they don't think they can convict you in state court without that statement, they will give it to the feds, and government will get together with their greedy little paws to get their stats, and the feds will prosecute you because they can get that statement in. So you're thinking, well, I'll take advice from my lawyer. And my lawyer said, if they tell you you have to talk, go ahead and talk, because if they fire you, if you don't talk, then we'll use that as a court statement. So go ahead and talk. So you go in there in good faith saying, I listen to my lawyer, you give this statement, and now you're facing federal charges because the state gave it to the feds and you don't get that protection. So, you know, and it sounds confusing and it sounds BS, but I'm telling you, man, the more you're in the law, the more the law's a freaking joke. It just doesn't apply. It's used against people who either can't fight back, don't have the money, or it's used against people when the government gets their sights on you and says, you know what? We're going to get you, and we don't care what we have to do it, but we're going to get you. Al Capone couldn't get him legally, went after him for tax evasion. Hoffa, there's a lot of people throughout time that the government couldn't play within the rules, so they changed the rules. Is this cop in worse shape because she got fired? Probably. I mean, the civil attorney isn't going to want to go after her. She doesn't have a whole lot of money. They may be able to get a judgment, but she's not going to be able to pay lawyer bills and pay the family money that she doesn't have. So who does the lawyer really want? They want the taxpayer. They want the deep pockets. So what they will do is they will get her to kind of turn on the agency. They will depose her and make a deal with her that if she says, Dallas police didn't train me well, Dallas police passed me on things that I shouldn't pass. And I think this is a great, for her attorney, this is a great avenue for her defense. And I think all quota hires ought to be doing this when they get fired. And hopefully it would stop quota hires. But if a quota hire gets fired because they were hired for a quota, not because they were qualified, not because there was a standard, not because they beat out other people and were better than them, they were actually lower. Happens all the time. You know, they promote the number 25. They test everybody for a promotion, and the number 1 guy don't get picked because he's white. Number 2 guy don't get picked because he's white. Number 25 gets picked because she's a black female or a white female or a Hispanic female or an Asian female. So you have a whole list of 1 to 50 on how people ranked in this testing, and they promote number 25. Because government writes the laws that we don't have to take the best. Government doesn't want to have to be forced to take the best, because then we can't get our liberal left agenda of quota hires, LBGT, 1, 2, 3 bathrooms, all these other things. They don't want to be tied down to where they have to make things fair and equal. Government doesn't like fair and equal. That's why they want to have guns and they don't want you to have guns. Government never likes a fair fight. Government usually won't fight on a fair fight. They'll only fight when they have numbers, legal backup, money, stats, something. That's when government fights. They don't fight when it's fair because they know they'll lose and they don't like to lose. So every quota hire, when they get fired, should be documenting, I didn't graduate number 1 in the academy. I graduated number 25th. I failed the test. It took me longer for FTO. People used to tell me that I wasn't qualified. The department used to send me on calls that they wouldn't send regular officers on because they knew I couldn't handle it. They treated me as less of an officer because I was less of an officer. They treated me like I didn't really earn the job because I didn't earn the job. I was hired because of my gender, my color, whatever other reason I was hired for, and I was never put in a position and given a fair chance to succeed because they hired me when I couldn't succeed, and they put me in a position that was above my knowledge and my abilities. And they put me there because I was a woman. And they set me up to fail, and now after they gave me a gun and put me on a street and told me I could do what I wanted when I really wasn't able or capable or prepared, I make a mistake because of what the government put me in. I make a mistake and I might go to prison, and now they fire me. It's not fair. They set me up to fail. I think that is a classical defense for any quota hire being fired. And there's going to be plenty of documentation, I guarantee you. She didn't shoot well. She didn't have upper body strength. She couldn't do the physical tests. She called for backup numerous times. There'll be plenty of male officers that'll say, you know what? We all said she shouldn't have been out on the road. She was a danger. We all said that we always have to go back her up on calls. The dispatchers know that when they sent her on a call, because she was, what, 4'9" and 130 pounds, whatever her weight and height was, a little bitty thing, they knew, dispatch knew, when they sent her to a call, we always had to spend 2 extra mils because we knew she couldn't handle it. There is a ton of evidence that backs up that she shouldn't have been in this job. And they put her in a job, and they give her a gun, and when she fails, they're going to send her to prison and they fire her. Now, I'm not a big protector of quota hires who want to get a job for free because of their color and claim equal and it's fair and you owe me and I'm a victim and it's not my fault and I shouldn't have to do this because I'm a victim and I'm special. I'm not into all that. But, the same token, putting unqualified people out there and setting them up to fail is just wrong. It would be like giving a kindergartner a gun and throw them out on a roadway and say, hey, stop speeders. And then when they shoot somebody with the gun you give them, you go, what did you do that for? We didn't tell you to do that. We told you to stop speeders. We're going to put you in prison. We're going to fire you. We're going to ruin your life because we gave you a gun and we put you in the middle of traffic and we told you to stop speeders and then you shot somebody. I mean, and it's an exaggeration, obviously, but that's what it is. So why did she get fired? My guess, she was advised by her attorney, don't cooperate with the internal because anything you say, they're either going to get in through the back door, they're going to get in impeachment. Oh, I didn't cover the impeachment. If I give a statement under duress, that statement can't be used against me. Okay, so a cop comes in and goes, you better tell me what happened or I'm going to take you out in this alley and beat your ass. And you go, hey, it was me and Billy Bob pulled out the gun and he shot him. Okay, that statement's going to be suppressed. And at any point in the trial, if I change that statement at all, and I get up on the stand and I say, yeah, me and Billy Bob did it, but I don't know what happened. He was in the alley. Whoa, everything changes. Now, because I gave a conflicting statement to a statement I gave under duress that can't be used against me, now that statement can be used to impeach what I just said because they're going to say, I'm lying. I either lied on that statement or I lied on this statement. But my statement isn't consistent, therefore they can bring that statement in. Even though it can't be used against me, they can bring it in to show that I'm lying now because I said something different in the statement. So there's always little wiggle rooms to get things in, understanding the law. Nobody's going to, hell, I don't even understand it. I mean, I've got a better grasp than most people, but there's no way I would call myself an expert. I mean, by the court standards, I'm an expert because I have more knowledge than the average person. But look, there's lawyers that have been lawyers for 30 years. And you know what? They work in one area. You know, at the DA's office, they got attorneys that work just homicides. They got attorneys that work just robberies. They got an attorney that just works white-collar crime. Because there's so many ins and outs and different things, it takes a while to get grounded and to understand all the ins and outs and be a good prosecutor. When you defense attorneys, there's some criminal defense attorneys, oh, I'll defend you for any criminal charge and blah, blah. If they've never defended a charge that you got, I don't know if I would use them because they need experience in that law. Now, if it's a minor crime and it's just minor, you know, suppressing issues and getting in there and stopping some evidence or muddying the water or getting the DA to drop the charges because his case is weak or, you know, they could probably do something like that. But if you're facing real time like this girl is, I mean, this girl's life is over. She went home after working a cop shift, went out, did her job, was not out drinking, was not out doing drugs, wasn't out partying, She got off work, went home, made a mistake. She's now facing prison. She's lost her job. She's in the media getting called a racist. Her whole life is over because she made a mistake. But Rick, she killed somebody. I get it. Somebody shouldn't have died. People make mistakes. Kids run out in front of traffic and somebody runs them over. That person shouldn't lose their job, their life, their freedom, and have the whole life of misery because a kid ran out in front of them and they ran them over. But Rick, she took a gun and that... Look, people, I'm not defending her. You people want to come here and argue like I'm defending her. I'm just telling you. It's an unfair standard sometimes for cops that no matter what we do, we're held to this standard that we should have known better. We should have had more training. We shouldn't have done this. We're racist. There's all these standards that we should have done, yet we look around and we look at politicians and the courts and judges getting caught doing this, and judges walking, and Hillary violating all kind of laws, and Clinton molesting young interns in his office, and Ted Kennedy, another liberal Democrat, kills a woman on the way home when he's drunk and leaves her to die and gets reelected and is still seen as a hero for the Democrat Party. And now somebody's going to come to me and go, well, you were a cop, you should have known better, and we should have held you to a higher standard. Really? Man, I call BS. Sorry. Anyway, that's my take on why she got fired and what's going on. Good old Mr. T out there. We got a little fog. We don't get a whole bunch of fog in Texas a lot. Not a lot of wind. Tell a little wind thing isn't on, but it's a good little scenic picture of old Mr. T relaxing. I fed him some alfalfa hay there this morning, and they finished it up. So Mr. T is still kind of getting the little bits and pieces. Buddy came over here and was like, dude, come give me some good stuff. Hey, buddy boy. What are you doing? You're a good boy. What happened to Moki Cat? He left. All right. Well, in that there.